Hi folks, I'm Mike and I hope you're well. Welcome to Featured Artist Live here on Creative Source. It's nice to have you with me in the live chat as well. And if you're watching on the replay, don't forget to leave a comment down below as we listen to some songs from the community with the focus this week just a little on vocal harmonies. I'll get back to why I said just a moment ago. But I first of all want to thank you, say a thank you, I should say, to our sponsor, DistroKid. And if you follow that link in the description, you will get 7% off of what they normally charge, which is only $19.99 per year for an unlimited number of original songs being uploaded and distributed to all the great places like, iTunes, Spotify, all of those places where we buy music. It's great to see some people in the live chat. We've got a very sort of international live chat audience today. We have Kevin here. Nice to see you as usual, Kevin. You always join us, and I'm very grateful for it. I didn't realize you were actually in Korea, Kevin. One of the places I haven't been to in Asia. We have, let's have a look here, Tateshi Starwalker from Japan. Nice. I hope I've pronounced it. It's been a long time since I've spoken any Japanese. Tateshi. Nice to hear from you. Nice to see you here, Tateshi, in the live chat there. Aidan Rivera. I'm going to pronounce names badly today, aren't I? From Puerto Rico. Nice. We don't have too many people from Puerto Rico. We have the wonderful Kionra from Perth, Western Australia, exactly where I am at the moment as well. Nice weather, isn't it, Kionra? We're getting some nice weather here. We have Ray. We have Ray here from Hey Hey. Hey Ray, nice to see you here. We have the wonderful Doug here as well, Doug Kidder, who is always here. Thank you so much for making it here, Doug. Not such a great time for you. And the awesome and helpful and legendary Mimo Japan is here. We have Rock here. And nice to see you all here. You're all going to play a role today in commenting on the three songs that we're going to listen to. And as the thumbnail and the show title indicates, I decided to just lend a little bit of focus to vocal harmonies. Now, I have to say, just as a little bit of a disclaimer, the three songs that we're going to listen to, quite possibly, if you heard them, you wouldn't think about the harmonies that much. These are not like Bohemian Rhapsody songs, okay? I haven't gone for that, but these are all great songs, I think, in their own right from our community. And we could talk about many aspects of these songs, and I hope we will. But one thing they all have in common is some vocal harmonies. This is one of my favorite parts about making music. I have to say, when we get to the stage of a project where we're going to be adding some harmonies, I'm in there. Let me know in the comments down below if you do this, but I'm the guy that when I'm in the car and then the music's on, I sing along, but I just sing harmonies all the time. I love harmonies. We'll make a point about that later, about why you don't necessarily want to be singing harmonies all the time in your actual productions. In the car is fine. Do that. It's good practice. But there's something about harmonies. Over the years when I was a performing musician, a couple of times I was involved in just small duos, sometimes perhaps me and another guitarist. And as long as one of us sung lead and the other sung harmony, we always got a good reaction from the audience, okay? It's one of those things that people love to hear, and they have done for a long time. And certain artists have certainly, it's been their signature thing. Probably the two artists that always spring to mind for me would be the Everly Brothers and Simon and Garfunkel, of course. And particularly with Simon and Garfunkel, I think whether you like them or not, it's worth listening to them if you kind of want to learn about harmonies and what's sort of possible with them. Now, what I do think about harmonies is that they're wonderful in terms of dynamics in a song. Okay, so one of the first things that harmonies can do is add a lift to a song in certain places, and then when we remove them, we go back to a single vocal, we get a dip, and that's a good thing. We want that those sort of dynamics in the arrangement of a song. So harmonies are wonderful for this. They're really good if you've only got a small arrangement. I find if you've got a very simple arrangement, say just a guitar and a lead vocal, just a little bit of harmony here and there can add some special spice. And another thing that harmonies can do at times is actually add width. If you've recorded as well, perhaps let's assume you haven't done much recording. One thing we commonly do with harmonies is not just do, say, one harmony, but record one harmony for the left speaker, got that the wrong way around, didn't I? One harmony for the left speaker, one harmony for the right. You can either pan them very hard or not so hard. But if you've got a very simple track, as I say, maybe just a piano and a vocal or a guitar and a vocal, and there's not much width in that, just some harmonies can really add some width to the whole thing. It's a really useful tool in that way in your productions as well. Now, I feel that most of the time, because of contemporary music and the way it's worked, especially with, as people, Doug's mentioning there, Scarborough Fair, which is got some actually quite complex harmonies, but a lot of harmonies that we naturally go to, a lot of people will be singing the third above the main vocal, and that's fine, and that works often very, very well. But if you're looking for some different ideas in your music, experiment with some harmonies. I would definitely take a look at singing some lower harmonies. It's always some fun and can be very, very effective. Look at accentuating particular chords, maybe suspended fourths, sevenths, things like that, as they're appearing in the music. You can accentuate those with the harmonies, and they can be really fun. You can use, there's a method, and I apologize, I'm not, a music theorist, so if I'm using not quite the right term, I apologize, but there's something called drones in harmonies, which I really, really like. Simon and Garfunkel used them sometimes, and that's where you can actually have a note which is not changing a lot. No, 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 no. If the melody is changing, and that it's usually lower, but it could be higher, but if it's lower, and that's sitting above, if it's not changing, but it's sitting below a changing melody, it can create a really, really nice effect at times. You can combine drones with other harmonies, so definitely experiment with these things if you're making music, because the way that it can change the mood of the music is really, really significant. Now, with all of that said, well, as we move on to our first song, I might cop some heat. Because this song actually only has harmony in 2 places in the whole song. So why are you including it in the show, Mike? Well, first of all, I think the song itself is just worth listening to, and it's from the community. But also, I think this emphasizes about the use of harmony, that you don't need to use harmony all the time. In fact, there's sometimes that can really work at times. There's certain songs I've heard where there's virtually a harmony all the way through. That can work. But also, the absence of harmony and then bringing it in at very specific times to emphasize specific lyrics can work very well. And I think this song is an example of that, although, as I must apologize, there are only 2 points in the song where there is a harmony. A very effective third, I will say. The song itself is, let's just bring the name up. I hope I can, oh, that's the wrong one. That's not the one. We'll be playing that one later. Okay, let's go to the one we're actually playing, which is that one. Oh, goodness me, work for me, technology, thank you. The song is I Don't Know What It Means to Me, and it's from Michael, let me get this right, Michael Paunagi, something along those lines. I do apologize, Michael, if I've messed up your name there. So look, remember in the live chat here, when you're joining us here, I love to hear your comments, okay? They trigger thoughts in me as well when I see your comments. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. If you're normally here listening and you're a bit shy to comment, don't. Your opinion's very, very valid. Let's hear it. Let's hear this song. It always helps if you press play, I find.
so many faces, been at so many places. I don't know what they mean to me. I've said so many things, I've lost 1,000 dreams, and I don't know what they mean to me. It's all I see and all I know. Don't know if I'm right or wrong. I don't know if I should belong, and what is all means to me. Some kind of sweet, some kind of sour, some kind of stupid. Anyhow, I don't know what it means to me. It's all I see and all I know.
There's something very charming about that song, and we'll leave the harmony for a moment, but I love it when someone's known, when someone has understood that they don't have to add any more to the song to make it work, okay? Particularly, I would probably, if it was me, I would have got some bass guitar in there or something, would have been happening. But, Michael, the performer here or the creator of this piece of music, has understood that this song doesn't need too much. One slightly out of tune nylon guitar, and I'm not joking here, okay? The guitar was slightly out of tune. It didn't matter. It almost added to a kind of authenticity of, hey, this is a guy who's just perhaps sitting on your sofa singing a song or something, right? That's, there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for almost, now I'm going to say lack of production. There was production in this piece of music, but it was almost a contrived non-production, if that makes any sense. Almost trying to give the listener the idea that perhaps you just pointed a microphone at someone and didn't do too much, because there was way more to it than that, because it was a nice, balanced track. So the harmony. Yeah, I wanted to use this as an example of using harmony for emphasis, for sort of, Pete Johns has arrived. He's distracting me already. G'day, Pete. Using just a little bit of emphasis here and there. I don't even think that harmony was on the main kind of line of the song. I think it was on another song. Now, for me, this is a matter of feel. Sometimes I've got tempted into harmonizing too many lines of a song, and I've gone, okay, it doesn't feel right, and then start taking them out. Sometimes you don't even need to harmonize the whole line of a song. In other words, the harmony doesn't have to make logical sense, if that makes sense, right? So sometimes you'll find that it just feels right if you just harmonize, say, the last three words of a line or something like that. So don't feel you sort of have to do it with a specific formula. Okay, you've got to go with what feels right. But definitely with this, it was like a punctuation mark. The harmony created a punctuation mark towards the end of these phrases. I also just note there, and I invite you to follow the links in the description, the first couple of songs here on Spotify. Have a listen to it. Make sure you got some headphones on, or you're using decent monitors. What those harmonies also did was what I was talking about earlier. They just created a bit of width, okay? There was a left and a right. The harmony that was sung was a third, and they just for a moment, it's like everything was there, and then just while those harmonies came in, it just went out like this. Very, very nice. Simple. Doug says here the harmony was used sparingly but had impact. Exactly, Doug. You said in one sentence what I managed to waffle on about for a few minutes. But I've got to agree with this from Danny. Everyone has room for a cello. Do you know what, Danny? You're right, aren't you? That you could add a cello to this song. Okay, I said that it had everything it needed, but I think, yeah, maybe a cello in the second half, especially this kind of song. I am a sucker for a cello. It's one of the most emotive instruments out there. If I was going to release this song, I may be tempted to pop the cello in before I did it. Talking about releasing songs. Did you like this segment? If you do follow the link in the description down below, it's going to take you to a special page on DistroKid with this yellow banner at the top. That banner is letting you know that you're going to get a further 7% discount off your first year if you sign up here. And let's face it, it's already very cheap. If we scroll down, we can see that a year's membership is $19.99 per year for an unlimited number of albums and songs. And so long as it's your own music, there are no extra charges, and you get to keep all of the royalties from the various platforms. Platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, Pandora, Amazon, Instagram, Tidal, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and more. So this particular song coming up now, which is from, let's just try and get the right name this time. It's called Flesh Colored Soul, which I just think is a great title of the song, just to start off with. Certain titles, just great. It's intriguing. What's that all about? This is from Hayden Davis, okay, member of our community, and this one is got a little bit more harmony than the last one. It's using thirds again in some places, but uses a little bit more complex harmony here and there, which is, some songs require that. And just listen to the way the harmonies are sitting in the mix with the main vocal. I don't know if I'm doing it right, if there's a right and a wrong, but what I tend to do is once I've found that relationship between the main vocal and the harmony, I tend to then kind of put them all together into a vocal bus, okay? I like to do it that way. You could treat them completely separately. Some people might like to leave their main vocal separate. Also, just pay attention if you're singing your own harmonies, which many of us in home studios will be doing, is to create some different sounds. If you've used the same microphone, for example, EQ them a little bit differently. You'll often find with harmonies, depending on the harmony, that you can scoop quite a lot of the lower end out, okay, for example. But, if you can, try some things like using different microphones or maybe, backing off a little bit for the harmonies so that they sonically sound a little different, okay? So that's important. I'm going to say I really am hesitant to give numbers because I know people will follow them. But I have found in contemporary songs, let me know what you think in the comments, but I have found as long as the main vocal and the harmony are gain staged, in the same way, I'll often find that the harmonies are around about 65 or 70% of the main vocal. Don't go and follow me there. It's just inexperience. Now, the only thing I'll say about that is certain harmonies, higher harmonies, will cut through a mix a lot more easily. So lower harmonies and things, if you want them to be more present, you want them to work, you're often going to have to boost them a little bit. Anyway, you have to use your ears, of course. Let's move on to this song anyway. Have a listen to this, Flesh Colored Soul from Hayden Davies.
When I was young, I had to be putting me facing the sun. But now I'm old, I need to be holding me, hands in the cold. So don't paint me this way. The skin will not wash away. Put your hands in the snow and pull out the white wine with my flesh-colored soul. Oh, let's hope it's the right one. When you were me, you had to go sinking your face in the sea. But now it's you, your colors are turning to shades of deep blue. So don't leave me to fade. The red, the green and the gray. Put your hands in the snow and pull out the white wine with my flesh-colored soul. Oh, let's hope it's the right one. Let's hope it's the right one. Let's hope it's the right one. When I was young, I had to be putting me facing the sun. Put your hands in the snow and pull out the white wine with my flesh-colored soul. Oh, let's hope it's the right one. Put your hands in the snow and pull out the white wine with my flesh-colored soul. Oh, let's hope it's the right one.
In my humble opinion, the composer of this piece of music, who I assume is Hayden Davis, understands quite a lot about songwriting, which we could all learn from. There's so many good things about that track, actually. I really did enjoy it. There's some good lyrics in there. The melody's fantastic. It's repeated enough to make it familiar, not too much to make it monotonous. Great instrumentation. We could have easily had it last week or the week before last when we were talking about arrangements, to be honest with you. It was a good arrangement in there. We had a cello, which I was so pleased to hear near the beginning. And yes, really great use of harmony there. Again, it's not much to add from the previous song, but earlier on in this piece of music, he was just using a third. Thirds are really good for one reason, that they emphasize, because a fifth will not move. A fifth is just a fifth, but thirds emphasize, major and minor, that kind of thing. So the thirds really move in nice ways in music. Although he was using that, he expanded it in the choruses, and we using some different harmonies, some really nice high ones there. And again, spread nicely in the mix as well to create some width. I felt that this was a case of a typical use of harmony in some ways for the chorus, okay? And we are often with the chorus looking to sort of add, that lift, okay? The chorus is, what everyone comes for kind of thing, right? It's what they walk away whistling. And we're often looking for lift, and too often I think on channels like this, or when we're looking at music production, the first thing we're reaching for is faders or automation or compression or things like that to create a lift. Whereas, as we discussed in the show about arrangements, so much of it can come from the arrangement, and in this case, so much of the dynamics of this song are being added. Created from the arrangement, and very much so from the vocal harmony here. Really enjoyed that song from Hayden Davis. Thank you so much for it. I've got to say, I'm not quite sure where I found this song from. I know that Hayden at some point put it in a post, and I popped it into the Creative Source playlist on Spotify. It wasn't during the last week or so. It's been there for a while, but I was listening through and I thought, oh, this is really nice. So do check out that playlist if you... I know another member of the community, by the way, created a Creative Source playlist, so that one as well. I'm not sure where the link is for that, somewhere in the group. But I've also created one of songs which are more either have been on the show or kind of in a queue to be on the show. So, yeah, follow the link after the show is finished. Follow the link and have a listen to some of the music from our community there. Don't forget to let me know if you've got a song which you think would be, which you'd like to be featured on this show. If you've released something, don't forget you can contact me by email or in the Creative Source Cakewalk group. You can put posts in there. I do not object at all to people posting their music in our group. I prefer that you will say something about it, though. Give us some background information on your music rather than just posting a link. That would be nice if you could do that. If you do, of course, have it released, then you may have released it through DistroKid, and why wouldn't you? The service is so good and it's so easy to do. Another segue. If you want to release your music via DistroKid, there's just a couple of things you need. First of all, the music itself. Here's mine in my DAW Cakewalk, and I'm exporting it to an uncompressed WAV file for best results. Now, the other thing you'll need is some artwork. I just grabbed an old photo which I'd taken on the beach, chucked on some text here, and that's what I call art. Then I went over to DistroKid, and I just have to fill in this extra easy form. It's a no-brainer form. You get helped all the way through with little hints and things. You can't really do anything wrong. You just go ahead and confirm a few things about your music, and then you just have to actually upload the artwork and the song itself, and DistroKid takes care of the rest. It's going to send it out to all of the best platforms so that people can hear and buy your music. Please don't feel that your music has to be released to Spotify in order for me to play it on the show. That's not the case at all. And don't feel it has to be a specific genre of music. These are all sort of fairly typical contemporary songs. I've yet to do a show on instrumentals, but I do want to do that. And I've yet to do a kind of a show which is instrumental soundtrack music. And I think it would be nice for us to do a show on that. So those kinds of things, if you would like to submit them, absolutely fine. And a lot of people also ask me whether it's okay to send in covers. And yes, I am prepared to play cover songs on the show. Probably not so much if they're too similar to the original song. But if you've done a different arrangement or your own thing with it, then I'm quite happy to play songs on the show. But yeah, it's been a while since we've listened to any kind of soundtrack music. When I say soundtrack, I mean perhaps you write music which is intended for computer games as well, so that kind of thing. I think we're due to have a listen to some instrumentals. Now, this is the next song that we're going to listen to is very much not an instrumental, and it's not on Spotify either. This one's on SoundCloud. But I was struck by this song, okay? It's got some fairly big harmonies in it. It's thick with harmonies when it does have harmonies. They're not on there all the time. And this was one of those songs. Tell me what you think, but I just felt a good vibe. I felt a nice bit of storytelling going on with this particular song. And it kind of, I want to say it moved me in the sense that it really drew me into what the lyricist was trying to say, what the subject of the song was. It really drew me in and made me feel I wanted to hear this kind of story and what it was all about. It's a song called I Want to Go Home from Robert Carter, also from our Facebook community. And let's just go ahead and have a listen. Don't forget to leave your comments in the live chat, or if you're watching on the replay, let us know in the comments down below what you think of these pieces of music.
I wanna go back home and do the things I wanna do. I don't care what I leave behind, I wanna go home. I've done for you and I've run for you, but now I'm done with you. If it's all the same to you, I wanna go home. I've watched the years pass me by and it's plain to see I've made my mistakes, I wanna go home. Well, I did all I could for the greater good, but I failed to see I gotta do something for me, I wanna go home. Take me home. Pack up my wife, start a new life where the air is clear. So far away from here. I've been living here for a lot of years, but everything's changed. It's getting to be so bad, I wanna go home. Lately here you gotta live in fear, and it just ain't right. Take me far away, I wanna go home. Take me home, home. Take me home, home. You can try and sell me things that I'm just not buying from you, 'cause I know what I believe, I wanna go home.
That was just lush, wasn't it? Thick with harmonies there, some suspended harmonies going on there, just held out nice and long there. Sustained notes, as people pointed out. I'm so glad that Pete Johns picked up on the bass guitar there. This song could easily have been on last week's show when we talked about the influence of bass on a track. If we take out all of the kind of clever stuff that was going on the bass, he was often holding, I say he, could be a she, he or she was often, I think I've got the notes here actually. It was Rob himself playing the bass, okay? He was often holding a root note. That kind of drone idea that I was talking about with vocals earlier was actually going on with the bass. So as the guitar chords were changing to different chords, the root of the bass was hanging in there. One of my favourite things to do. I do it quite often, to be honest with you, especially at the beginning of songs. Some great songs in history have been doing that. And yes, as Kevin was saying, the bass was doing then some counterpart stuff as well, which is very, very cool. There was, I think it was Kevin as well that pointed out, is when you can, it's nice to have a different voice to the lead vocalist. Now, I've noticed recently, and I don't know whether it's to do with economy or what have you, that even when we've got huge artists, let's say, for example, I think I was listening to a track by Adele yesterday, and I noticed that she had been doing her own harmony, and I thought, well, obviously Adele can afford to employ some backup vocalists, and it was an interesting choice about why would she harmonise with her own voice, but it can sound good, okay. So if you do have to harmonise your own voice, don't let me put you off of that. But I do tend to agree with Kevin here that you do get this change of sound. It just sounds really, really good if you've got a different voice on there. Pete Johns is hooked on the bass still there, and I don't blame him. He says, people seem too afraid to use high notes in a bass line. I think it works fabulously. It absolutely, doesn't it? Yeah. Especially, again, not just high notes, but not playing the root. Playing a third, playing a fifth like that on the bass. Love it. Don't be too scared. I happen to agree here with, I hope I'm saying it right. Is it Yavia? Sorry, I'm just bad at pronouncing stuff. But the harmony reminded me of John Denver. It did have that kind of vibe to a certain time in history. It made me think of that sort of period in the 70s when you had people like the Eagles or Bread. Do you remember Bread? You know, where you'd have these really rich harmonies. I kind of miss that. I like it. Gives me a good lift when I hear that stuff. And it's interesting, isn't it? Harmonies can really affect you emotionally when they're done right. Good stuff. It's been wonderful to have you here as we've kind of celebrated some great music from the community, which includes harmonies. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching the replay what you think about these songs. Also, let me know how you use harmonies in your songs. And I can't go without ignoring this comment, but yes, ABBA. Probably one of the better examples of harmonies. Really, they sometimes the harmonies is what made an ABBA song. And you should know by now if you've watched the show at all. I'm an ABBA fan. Maybe I should do an ABBA show one day. Yeah. Screw the monetization. Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you here. I hope you're going to have a pleasant and safe weekend. I know that's what I'm going to try and do. And I will be back here Friday for me, probably Thursday for a lot of you, but roughly this time next week, where we'll be focusing on another aspect of music that we produce. Let me know as well in the comments if there is a specific aspect of production that you would like to focus on for a show. It's always great to get your ideas as well. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure, and I am now going off to relax for the weekend. See you next